Coast, expect clouds and a few showers as a coastal low begins to move up the coast. That will result in a few showers even as we head into the afternoon and then into the night. But by Tuesday, it does look like another rainy start before drier weather returns. Temperatures reach the 50s and 60s before we cool down overnight.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your forecast for today. Looking at the highs across the area. Southeastern portion of the country looking pretty comfortable. A few 80s as you get closer towards the Tennessee Valley and the Mississippi Delta. 81 in Nashville as well as Tupelo and Mobile. Getting right around 77 degrees in Atlanta. Raleigh 76 as well as Charleston. Those 80s holding on in parts of South Florida. Looks like we're still seeing high pressure keeping things mostly dry in this region. North and east of Raleigh, a few clouds and showers, but looking at plenty of sunshine down in Florida.
Good Monday morning. I'm Caroline Cohen, and we have a big difference depending on where you are in the Great Lakes region. Bismarck, 40 with snow. Then you head over to Sioux City, 55 and cloudy. We head into the Great Lakes region, portions of Des Moines and Iowa, into Wisconsin and Illinois, seeing rain in 70s. This weather maker is going to bring portions of the area snow, but then a better chance for rain pushing through Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio through about Wednesday.
Happy Monday. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. We'll look at your forecast across the region. Strong cold front moving through, showers and storms from central Texas up towards Oklahoma. A few of these could be strong to severe as they push on through. Large hail, damaging winds, the main threat. Can't rule out an isolated tornado. Much cooler behind the front.
All about.
Right now on the National Right now on the National Weather Desk, a welcome sight. It finally rained in the Pacific Northwest, but was it enough to clear the air? While in Texas, the drought gets worse.
Now they're urging everyone to reduce their water usage.
We'll help you understand why frost forms on your lawn.
Frost even on mornings where the air isn't technically down to freezing.
As well as graupel.
It may look a little bit like hail, but it's different and it's formed in a different process.
Details on the spacecraft moving at 430 miles an hour.
What else comes close to traveling that fast that's in space?
And we'll take you under the stars and through the beauty that is western Montana.
Well, good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. Let's take a look now at the big weather story happening right now. Relief from wildfire smoke has come to Washington state. The rain normally forces people inside, but downtown Seattle, well, saw many people head out with rain boots and jackets as weekend rain helped clear the air of wildfire smoke, and an air quality alert that was in effect last week in Western Washington has expired. The system was not only the first significant rain, but also brought the first mountain snow of the season. And much needed rain in Oregon also over the weekend. At the higher elevations, some news that should make lovers of alpine sports pretty happy. Mount Hood got a taste of winter. About 3 inches of snow, in fact, fell on 3 ski resorts on that mountain. It's raising hopes that maybe, just maybe, this year's skiing and snowboarding season could start early. Let's head to Portland, Oregon, where Nikki Torres has more.
The new season will be here before you know it. And if Mother Nature plays alongside Mount Hood Meadows' schedule, we'll all be skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing, all the winter fun things by Thanksgiving weekend. It's just a little more than 1 month from now.
The last 2 years with COVID, we've had limited operations, but this year we hope to be able to move back to full-on indoor supervision of our kids and our children learning center so we can add full-day lessons and take care of the kids all day long.
Skiers and snowboarders can expect one practice from COVID to stick around at Meadows, however.
We will still be managing our visitation. We've still set limits for the amount of season passes that we're going to be selling, and on any given day, how many lift tickets we're going to be making available.
November 25th is the tentative opening day, but if the weather delivers more snow, there could be some preview days before then.
Well, that's pretty exciting. Well, water conservationists are sounding the alarm in parts of central Texas. For the first time in almost a decade, they're entering a critical drought stage due to below average rainfall most of the year. It's prompting tighter restrictions on water use. Let's head now to Austin, Texas, where Jessica Taylor caught up with a local hydrologist to learn more.
There are 2 drought triggers. One is Barton Springs and the other is the Love Lady monitor well. Earlier this week, the Love Lady fell below the stage 3 trigger, prompting this critical stage. Now they're urging everyone to reduce their water usage. Back into stage 3 critical drought. What that means is some people and businesses who use fresh water from Edwards Aquifer need to reduce their pumping by 30%.
So it just means, well, you can't be as using as much water in your lawn or in the house or whatever you're doing as an end user. But we interact directly with the permittees, which are like City of Buda is one, or some water supply companies.
Brian Smith, the principal hydrogeologist, says the continued lack of rainfall is exacerbating the problem. So right now, reducing water is critical to help keep wells from going dry and stopping flow from Barton Springs from decreasing.
But our section of the Edwards Aquifer, which extends from somewhere around Kyle all the way to the Colorado River near Barton Springs, has the Edwards Aquifer that's flowing water north toward the springs. So ultimately, the bulk of that water comes out in Barton Springs and all the little small springs.
Back in 2013, the district also pulled the lever for critical drought status. They're hoping rainfall comes soon, but need people to pitch in to prevent conditions from worsening this year.
The more that people conserve now, that leaves more water in the aquifer and will push off ultimately going into the next stage of drought.
To exit a drought stage, both Barton Springs and Love Lady Monitor Well have to be above their respective triggers. So when could that happen? It could be weeks or months. It just depends on rain and water usage.
Well, Indiana's Department of Natural Resources is testing a new program involving the popular walleye. Reporter DJ Manu is in South Bend, Indiana, to explain what's behind this walleye launch.
Raising their own walleye, the DNR is looking to help supplement several lakes with their fish population. Today, they came to Simonton Lake and released more than 3,000. The reason why is because Simonton Lake, like many glacial lakes, doesn't provide the proper breeding habitats for the population to thrive. In less than a few minutes, all of the fish were shot out into the lake where they will help reassure the population is healthy. Good news for the fishermen who enjoy the lake, but they'll need to wait about 3 years before these fish can be in their prime. State law says walleye must be 16 inches long to be kept, and all of these are about 5 to 5.5 inches. But it's not just about having more fish for people to catch. A top predator, the walleye will help keep the lake clean and balance out the food chain. Simonton Lake does have a sportsman club that restocks every other year, so the DNR is hoping to alternate years with them to help keep the lake healthy.
When we stock the smaller, fry and fingerlings, the survival rate's really low. It could be 10%, 20% on a good year. Whereas these fish that we're stocking, survival rates are up in the 90s.
Just to see it done and to see that there's going to be more walleye to catch, and I have caught nice walleye here. There is good walleye in Simonton Lake.
Well, during this week, folks in the Great Lakes in the Midwest have had to deal with something called graupel. We even quizzed you on it for one of our weather wits recently. Let's go to Columbus, Ohio, where Marshall McPeak has more details about how graupel forms.
It may look a little bit like hail, but it's different, and it's formed in a different process. Most precipitation begins as snow. Way up in the atmosphere, it's cold enough, little snowflakes begin to form, and then, in this case, they fall through a layer of the atmosphere with supercooled water droplets. Now, it is possible to have liquid water below 32 degrees. The pressure has to be just right, the conditions have to be there, but you get those very supercooled water droplets to rime onto the snowflakes. So that means it accretes. It all begins to just glom on there, and it creates a little ball of not quite ice, but it's more like a little bit of a snowball. So it's still a little bit squishy. But that's what then falls to the ground and looks a little bit like small hail. But if you pick it up, you can actually crush it pretty easily. It's pretty soft. In some cases, they call it soft hail, or the appropriate term is really graupel. So the next time you see that falling out of the clouds when the air above us is nice and cold, you may have some graupel on the ground.
And we have posted Marshall's explanation on our YouTube page, along with many other weather lessons. You can also watch and share them. Just head over to our YouTube and subscribe to the National Weather Desk channel. Well, as temperatures drop, people can expect to see morning frost, but we had a few viewers who were curious why they were seeing morning frost when the temperatures were above freezing. Let's head now to South Carolina, where meteorologist Josh Knight has the answer.
On a cold morning, sometimes we end up with frost, even though temperatures haven't quite dropped all the way down to the freezing mark. And it all has to do with what's actually freezing. And we can get frost even on mornings where the air isn't technically down to freezing.
Objects like your roof or your car or the grass can actually drop to a lower temperature than the air around them. This happens for two different reasons. On a clear night, all the heat that those objects picked up throughout the day radiates off of them and ultimately back out to space. That can leave them colder than the air nearby. The other part to this is that colder air is more dense and ultimately heavier, so it sinks down to the very bottom of the ground, just a couple inches off the surface. But our official temperatures are measured about 4 to 6 feet off the ground, so that can give us a pretty different number compared to where the frost develops and what we report on the maps.
Well, we're getting closer to winter, and for most of us, when temperatures drop, going outside can be difficult. Well, one family in Bristol, Virginia, has come up with a great solution to getting the morning paper. Annalise Smith is able to send her dog Clyde out to fetch the morning newspaper so she can avoid the weather. This video is posted on our Facebook account. If you want to see more videos, just search the National Weather Desk on your favorite social media account.
Boy.
All right, coming up on the National Weather Desk, we take a trip to space and find out what NASA's solar probe is teaching us about the sun. Stick around.
Hi, everyone. I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have some wet weather, particularly in New England and back through portions of New York today. Western parts of New York will be brightest. That's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Temperatures today, they're going to struggle to get out of the 50s. Tuesday, it's a little bit of a break in the action. There probably will be some sunny breaks, and temperatures will be milder, 60s and low 70s. Another round of wet weather moves in on Wednesday. Later in the week, Thursday and Friday, we could be looking at highs in the 60s and low 70s.
I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Parts of the region will start with dry weather. High pressure will work its way in to keep those areas dry. But then along the coast, expect clouds and a few showers as a coastal low begins to move up the coast. That will result in a few showers even as we head into the afternoon and then into the night. But by Tuesday, it does look like another rainy start before drier weather returns. Temperatures reach the 50s and 60s before we cool down overnight.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your forecast for today, looking at the highs across the area. Southeastern portion of the country looking pretty comfortable. A few 80s as you get closer towards the Tennessee Valley and the Mississippi Delta. 81 in Nashville, as well as Tupelo and Mobile. Getting right around 77 degrees in Atlanta. Raleigh 76, as well as Charleston. Those 80s holding on in parts of South Florida. Looks like we're still seeing high pressure, keeping things mostly dry in this region. North and east of Raleigh, a few clouds and showers, but looking at plenty of sunshine down in Florida.
Now let's check to see the weather in cities across the country today. We'll start out in Washington, D.C., where it's been kind of drizzly, damp, even a little foggy early this morning, and there might be a little bit of a spritz or two for the afternoon. Maybe mostly cloudy, a few peaks of sunshine with a high temperature around 65 degrees. Next up, Blairsville, Pennsylvania, where they've got also a mixture of clouds and sunshine. They're going to see that fog break and get up to about 72 degrees this afternoon. And then further north, Syracuse, New York, where it starts to get a little chilly this time of the year. Their skies partly cloudy by the afternoon with a high temperature around 67, 68 degrees. And Middletown, Rhode Island, where they can expect some showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder, and an afternoon temperature of 63. Not too bad with that northeasterly wind kind of picking up on some of the water temperatures there. Well, the Parker Solar Probe launched in 2018, and it's been sending back crucial information from our sun since then. NASA astronomer Michelle Thaller was at the launch, and I spoke with her about her experience and why the probe is so important to our day-to-day activities here on Earth.
It was really, really exciting. It was on a huge rocket at the time, one of the biggest we have. It was called a Delta IV Heavy. And I'm really glad somebody told me that when the Delta engines turn on, it looks like something exploded on the pad, because that's what it looked like. You know, and then you see the rocket move up. And amazingly, the reason we needed a huge rocket to get to the sun is it takes many times more energy to go in towards the sun than it does to go out to Mars. And you think, why would that be? Well, so the Earth is actually moving at about 60,000 miles an hour around the sun. And in order to get closer into the sun, you need to lose that velocity. So gravity can get you closer to the sun. And so we actually had to launch into an orbit that actually loses energy over time. And right now, Parker is orbiting the sun. It's the first spacecraft that humans have ever put up that actually orbits around the sun. And the amazing thing to me, of course, the sun has a huge amount of gravity. You know, it's most of the mass of our solar system. And every time it does a close pass around the sun, the spacecraft goes up to 430,000 miles an hour. Let me say that again. That's nearly half a million
I am
miles
trying
an
to
hour, right?
fathom that because what else comes close to traveling that fast that's in space?
It is the absolute fastest human thing ever made. And like I said, when you go out to asteroids, and if you want to catch an asteroid, you need to get up to, say, about like 35,000 miles an hour. This is more than 10 times that, as it does a very slow pass around the sun. And as you said, I mean, of course, the sun is the source of all life for us, but we need to be a bit careful about what it throws out. It can throw out huge bursts of charged material, little protons and electrons. And if any of those, if it's a particularly large ejection, it could be damaging to our electrical grids. So it's not particularly dangerous to us biologically. The atmosphere, the air, is very good at absorbing those particles, but it dumps a huge amount of electrical current and magnetic current into the Earth's, into our magnetic field. And that can actually bring down, like I said, power grids, cause blackouts. And we actually work with things like the FAA, the airliners and all of that, to make sure if we know one of these bursts is coming.
Okay, the probe, it flies closer to the sun than any other artificial object ever made and continues to shrink its orbit over its 7-year lifespan. And if you want to see more interviews like this, head on over to our YouTube channel. Just search the National Weather Desk. Well, have you ever heard a meteorologist use the term bombogenesis? Yeah, it's a word that's used to describe a storm that's quickly growing more intense. Let's head to Syracuse, New York, where Violet Skybor explains.
So first, let's talk about our weather system setup. Let's say we have an area of low pressure off the east coast with some warm ocean temperatures and some colder air over the land. As this system slides up the east coast, it's going to pull in this colder air to replace the rising warm air that's over the ocean. And because an area of low pressure rotates counterclockwise, it's going to pull in this air on the south end. And the large temperature gradient leads to rapid intensification in the center of this area of low pressure. And that's what leads to bombogenesis, which is actually defined as the central pressure dropping 24 millibars or more in 24 hours. So it's only in that specific category that it's labeled as bombogenesis. And this can happen at any time, but most likely from October to March. And it can result in very heavy precipitation and produce winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. It's basically almost like a hurricane, an intense system, but it's non-tropical. And this usually happens up by the Northeast. We see this happen very frequently up by the Northeast coast and even into Canada as well. So hopefully this clears up any information about this term, or if you've never heard of it, maybe you can pass it along to someone you know.
Violet. Well, the last few months we have witnessed a seesaw of weather activity across the country. Things have really flipped the switch from extreme drought to periods of heavy rainfall, and that's made it a little difficult to pinpoint the peak fall foliage window. Let's head to Providence, Rhode Island now, where meteorologist Anthony McCarry explains.
Predicting the weather is one thing. Predicting the foliage, an entirely different challenge.
Going into the fall, it looked like we were going to potentially have, some of that more muted colors, and here we got some water at what I would say probably just about the right time. So
extreme drought plagued southern New England this summer, which is normally a recipe for poor color and early leaf drop. Instead, this year, rain throughout September led to healthy trees and brighter foliage. Robert Billington has been the president of the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council for over 35 years.
We like to think about October 10th to about October 20 is the peak. Obviously, this year we're running a little bit later, which is wonderful.
During the extreme drought of the summer, the water level was so low that parts of the river could not even be serviced by the boat. But now that we got the rainfall, the foliage is popping and the Explorer boat tours are going on.
Oh my gosh, especially these last 2 weeks, it's been really great. It's really starting to turn.
Sam Jackson is the director of river education at the Tourism Council, leading tours about the science of the Blackstone River as the color continues to develop.
Take our nature tours, see some foliage. We do our pirates on the Blackstone runs every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's great for kids. They find hidden treasure. They're chased by pirates.
As we approach peak, now is the time to get out and enjoy the nice color. Seasonable, sunny days and cool but not frigid nights will help.
We hold the wind back. If we keep the rain at bay, those are the things, and just and keep the sun flowing. I mean, we'll be fine for extra days.
And I hope if you're seeing peak or near peak color where you are, you don't have any windy days coming up, so you can enjoy some of that awesome fall color for at least a little while. Well, we get lots of awesome content from our nationwide team of 200 meteorologists. Sometimes they send us, images and video of their adventures outside of the workplace. Jit Kristoff sent us this video from one of his latest adventures. He was relishing in the fantastic fall weather, the colors in western Montana, before things got a little cold in his area. Take a look.
Good Monday morning. I'm Caroline Cohen, and we have a big difference depending on where you are in the Great Lakes region. Bismarck, 40 with snow. Then you head over to Sioux City, 55 and cloudy. We head into the Great Lakes region, portions of Des Moines and Iowa, into Wisconsin and Illinois, seeing rain and 70s. This weather maker is going to bring portions of the area snow, but then a better chance for rain pushing through Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio through about Wednesday.
Happy Monday. I'm meteorologist Jody Carlo. We'll look at your forecast across the region. Strong cold front moving through. Showers and storms from central Texas up towards Oklahoma. A few of these could be strong to severe as they push on through. Large hail, damaging winds, the main threat. Can't rule out an isolated tornado. Much cooler behind the front. Highs only in the low 40s in Amarillo. May see a few snow showers up in the Texas Panhandle into portions of northern New Mexico. Cold front moves through southeast Texas overnight with more showers and storms.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. We've got our first hard freeze across anywhere from Arizona up into Utah and over towards New Mexico. After that very cold weather, we're going to be seeing the next storm right into the Pacific Northwest with normal temperatures, but soggy, rainy conditions for the morning commute for your Monday. As we go to the east, it's going to be a lot of mountain snow, and that's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Did you know cricket chirps can help tell the temperature? Illinois meteorologist Rich Kane shared this. It's based on something called Dolbear's Law, the relationship between air temperature and the rate at which crickets chirp. The National Weather Service has a calculator that does conversions for you in different temperature scales, including Fahrenheit, Celsius, and Kelvin.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Twitter.
And it's time to feature some of the great photos that we get from our audience through our Chime In platform. While it rained in some parts of the area, fall colors are still popping in others. Here's an image from Southwest Virginia. Wow, that's like a postcard. And this was a sunrise view during the weekend in Three Rivers, Michigan. Equally pretty. And this lone leaf in the rain in Portland, Oregon. Hey, we'd love to share your weather content on air. You can find us all over your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We also post all of our shows all the time on YouTube, just in case you missed out. Just search at NatWX Desk or National Weather Desk. Just that easy. And we'll be right back after this short break. Thanks for spending a little part of your morning with the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. Tomorrow we take a look at some great coral reefs. Make it a magnificent Monday. And as always, you know what to do. Keep an eye on the sky.